Hello and welcome to Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I am your host, JP John Paz from the Two Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, one of the greatest trainers ever in the history of the business, the man himself, Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, how you doing today, sir?
You look like you were trying to think of something else to say, but yeah,
I was
that's
gonna. I
good.
was about to cough. I felt something coming, so I was like,
Oh, a little
I
tickle
didn't.
in the throat.
Yeah, a
Okay.
little tickle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
didn't
doing
didn't quite
great.
come out.
No, not quite. So that's good.
I was about to say the Doctor of Desire himself, and I thought I was going to cough, and I said, okay.
Yeah, you had that drink there. Are you
Yeah.
drinking Fresca or what are you drinking?
Uh, Polar Seltzer Premium Water.
Tremendous.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
stuff, Polar.
good stuff.
Yes. So, what is going on in the world of the JPWA?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And just looking forward to talking about everything we have to talk about tonight.
Jason. Hello to Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Hello to Ibsen. Ibsen, what's
Hello,
going
Ibsen.
on? This is an interesting name. Screaming Baboon. Hello, John and Tom. Hello, Screaming Baboon.
I've known a few screaming baboons in my time. I've dealt
Nice.
with a few of them. Yeah, sure have.
Just wanted to start off by mentioning the NWA show, NWA 76 at the old ECW Arena in Philly. Man, killed it over there.
Yeah,
Sold out show.
yeah. What a great night. I mean, if you haven't been, have you been to the arena since
Oh
it's
yeah.
been okay? So you've
Yep.
been since it's been remodeled and has
Oh
the
yeah.
bar,
Yep.
yeah, and really cool stuff. Yeah, it was a real cool place, and it was a really good night. Um, Had some great matches, and the people were into it all night long. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was shocked that it sold out just because I don't know, there's always so many shows in that Philly area. You never know like if it's gonna sell out or not. So that was great that it did sold out.
Well, we got in the day early, day before, and I came in with the Kazanas. We went down to Gino's cheesesteak sandwiches, which is right across the
Yep.
street from Pat's. And then come find out, Tony Luke's was the best cheesesteak that we had that weekend. But Philly was yeah,
That's what I think.
Philly was a great place last week, and we had a good time.
Love Tony Luke's. That's I mean, I've had Pat's, I had Geno's, but I think Tony Luke's is the best. To me anyway, that's
I,
my favorite.
I think so too. We got it at the airport. We were all our goal was to try every cheesesteak we could, but we went to Pat's, and then we went to Gino's. I went to Gino's, and somebody else went to Pat's, and then we finished up at Tony Luke's, and yeah, I thought it was the best.
So Luis, hello to Luis Reyes. Hi, Luis.
Luis looks like he might be from Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah. Phil,
Yeah.
hello. Happy hump day to Phil.
Happy hump day, Phil.
The modern day cowboy himself, Mitch Miller. How's it going, fellas?
It's going great, Mitch.
Hello, gentlemen, from Magazine Retriever. According to Sid Eadie's son Gunner, Sid developed Hodgkin's lymphoma from exposure to Roundup. There is no word as to whether Gunner plans to get in on the lawsuit. Is this anything you've heard?
I have not heard that. Uh, don't know. Don't know. That was something unexpected, though, I guess, or maybe it was expected. Hell, I don't know.
He did have cancer. I know that kind of came out, but I don't know if it was it seemed like somewhat unexpected because he was doing shows and autograph signings and things of that nature. So maybe it was pretty unexpected.
Uh, yeah. Hold on one second here because I've been going back and forth tonight with people, and I just had to make sure I was clear in what I was saying. So I don't know if it was unexpected or not, but I just realized that none of us are getting any younger, so you never know what's going to happen.
Ibsen wants to know thoughts on Sid's passing.
I was going along with Sid, so I was kind of sad that he passed on. But like I said, we're all gonna meet our end one day. So crazy. And this was 9/11, John. So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
9/11. Yep.
yeah.
Never forget. That's right. Where was it? What did I see here? Oh, there we go. How was Sid backstage during the New Generation time when you were there?
Sid was great. I've known Sid since he came to Tennessee and Alabama, and I always got along good with Sid. Sid was like a big baby sometimes, and you just had to know how to handle that.
And one of the all-time best. There's no doubt about it. Just before we move on, I got to get this question in from Screaming Baboon. Question: why doesn't Rick Martel do any interviews or no action figures on Martel? What's going on with Rick the model?
Well, wait a minute. Does Rick not have an action figure? I
He
think he
does,
did.
but not like recently, not lately.
Well, are there new ones coming out? Are there new
Oh,
action
they got new.
figures coming out?
Oh, they got new figures coming out like every other week. It seems like Hogan's got like 17 more figures coming out.
Well, that's Hogan.
Yeah, but
So
it seems like a lot of the guys, like obviously all the current guys, but all the old school guys still got figures coming out too.
wow. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the deal with Rick is. I don't know if he has any heat or if he just hasn't been around or nobody knows how to contact him or what. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Rick not doing interviews.
I've heard from a really good friend of his actually that he doesn't do any interviews. I talked to him probably about 5 years ago or so, and he was gonna do the interview. Then he didn't really want to do it. Then he said he doesn't really do any interviews. So he was even years ago not too keen on it. Recently, I was talking to a friend of his. He still wasn't too keen on it. He just doesn't need the business. Doesn't want to be part of the business. It seems like.
I can understand that. And if you want an action figure, then you have to make yourself available. But I can certainly understand his feelings on not wanting to be available, not wanting to be around it. I mean, I get it.
He apparently is good with money too, and has a lot of money because he doesn't need the business.
Good
That
for
was
him.
that was something that he had mentioned. So
Well, he was the AWA champion. He must have saved and done well. So
I
yeah,
think he did good outside the business, just as far as handling his money, but like outside business ventures and things like that. It feels like he was very successful outside of wrestling.
good for him. Good for Rick.
Ahoy to Ibsen and the Screaming Baboon. So double shout out there. Nice. I like that.
Very
The
nice.
king of Kingsport himself, Bo James, Dr. Tom. Don't forget to mention September 21st, Jackson, Tennessee, and September 28th, JPWA graduation with SSW in Mount Carmel, Tennessee. Don't forget to mention that.
Well, we just mentioned it. So September 21st is Jackson, Tennessee, big Memphis Hall of Fame. A lot of old school guys coming in and going to be honored. And September 28th, the JPWA graduation with Southern States Wrestling in Mount Carmel, Tennessee. We're doing the graduation next week. So, yeah, so we just mentioned it. Not bad, but I'm really looking forward to the 21st uh, in Jackson because that's going to be cool. You're going to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a while.
What happened last Wednesday with Bo? How did that go? Was he a gentleman and everything went smoothly?
Well, as always, a gentleman. Yeah, it was great, great time. Yeah, we had the Coffee County Fair and met Lemuel and Silas and Fernham and Snavitz and all those guys.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
And
very nice.
and did Bo wrestle? What was going on with Bo?
No, Bo was taking care of administrative duties that night. He was the administrator that night. He was the official in the official context.
I was just watching Unforgiven, WWF pay per view 1999, and you're the scab referee. You're very involved in that. What was or I mean, let me rephrase that. Is there a rib on you from that show? Because for some reason Lawler keeps mentioning your pants. You're wearing blue pants.
Yeah,
So
what's going on
what
with that?
I don't know. He was saying he's like, can't you get this scab ref Prichard? Can't we get him some real pants? He kept mentioning it, and JR was like, that's Dr. Tom. It's Dr. Tom. Like
I'm,
JR put
I'm,
you over, but Lawler was
I'm
trying
a,
to diss you.
I was a scab referee. I wasn't supposed to know what to wear. Lawler
Oh.
or the Brooklyn Brawler, he would go down and he would count like he didn't know how to count. And he said, "Because I'm a scab referee, I'm not supposed to know what I'm doing." So I don't know. I didn't have referee pants.
It just felt like Lawler, for some reason, just wanted to mess with you. Like, say, can't we get this guy real pants? What is going on with this guy? It just
Well, you
seemed
know
like he was
what?
ribbing you.
Yeah, Lawler would find something to bite into, no matter what it was. So
And then China gives you a pedigree, pretty stiff. She gives like lands you right on your head. She it was a vicious pedigree she gave you.
yeah, but that's how tough I am, John. I took it. I'm still here.
No neck issues from that.
Yeah, a lot of neck issues from that.
The scab referee thing, was it? I know obviously it makes sense the storyline because Austin is a special guest referee later. Corderas gets beat up by the refs. He has to make like it all kind of makes sense storyline wise. But was that supposed to be anything or other than like a short little stint? Or was
I
it supposed to go further?
No, I think that was just a short little stint, an idea. And Vince says, "You want a referee?" I say, "Sure." So yeah, of
Extra pay?
course.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, I got an extra $5.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah,
take whatever you can get.
sure.
The modern day cowboy himself is saying about Rick Martel, I think he sells real estate in Quebec. I heard the same thing.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, selling real estate, you have to be smart. You have to keep up with the market, and good for Rick.
Back to Sid here. Sid was one of Corny's favorite, but how was Del Rey with Sid? Did Jimmy Del Rey get along with Sid?
Um, I don't know that we were around. Wait a minute, yeah, we were. I think Sid was there. No, I think he got along fine with Sid. Yeah, no problem.
Willie Thompson wants to know why not Texas?
Why not Texas? I don't
I'm not
blame
sure.
you.
I feel like that's got to be like a Texas thing between you and him. Like, why not Texas? Like, it's going to be, yeah, there you go.
There you
Hey,
go.
they
I
absolutely,
agree.
they
Why
absolutely
not
destroyed
Texas?
Michigan, by the way. If you saw that,
I did. I did watch that.
destroyed them.
Yeah. So why not Texas? Hook 'em horns.
Hell yeah. SPCWLAF. Dr. Tom is my hero. SPCW.
Well, that's Southern Pride Championship Wrestling. So
Oh, yes. Okay. So
so there
nice.
you go. I think that might be Matt calling in or checking in.
Matt, nice. Here we go, which are with the kind of the main topic I wanted to talk to you about was the Mr. McMahon doc on Netflix, which is set to air September 25th. Obviously, the trailer just hit a few days ago. What are your thoughts on the Vince McMahon preview that they released
Who
on YouTube from Netflix?
who would have thought that WWE would never uh, would ever, let me say, ever exist without a McMahon at the helm? Um, just the lunacy that's happened between Vince stepping down and all the stuff happening. Um, I thought this would be shelved. I didn't think Netflix would want to touch it, but um, I'm going to try and watch it. There's an episode that comes out every week. Is that how that works?
Yep, for 6 weeks, I believe that's how it's going to be.
So I'm going to do what I can to. Is it an hour episode? You said
Yep, that's what they're saying.
so. 6 1 hour episodes.
Yep.
So I may just wait till it all comes out and do a binge one day. But I think it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to have all of the usual suspects talking about it, and I'm just interested since everything has come out, what's going to happen, how it's going to be portrayed.
Very interesting that Netflix is letting it be out there, right? And WWE has this deal with Netflix, so it's kind of like TKO and Endeavor. They want to bury Vince. It almost seems like that's what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, and I can understand why they want to put distance between them and Vince. Um, and I am curious how it's going to come out. I'm curious how Vince is going to come across because
Yep.
he can be really good or he can be really bad. And I'm interested to see how he handles it.
Scorch. The moment I heard Janelle Grant's accusations against Vince McMahon, I had my doubts about how true the claims were. Turns out she exaggerated or made up a lot of things. What do you think about that from Scorch?
Well, the only ones who know are her and Vince. So the ones who know the truth, and it's not unlike someone would make something up, especially when there's money involved, a lot of power involved. But who knows? I mean, we can accuse anybody of anything, but who knows? I mean, has it been proven that she exaggerated a lot of stuff?
I think it still remains to be seen, remains to
Right.
be determined, I feel like.
Well, then we'll have to remain to be seen. Then
Brendan, he says both sides in the end may bring new viewers. He's saying he saw. Wait, sorry, I'll get to that in a second. But he's saying it may actually bring in new viewers for WWE.
it may. I mean, it may bring some curiosity and bring in new viewers. I mean, the salacious content is going to draw, I think, a lot of people's eyes to it, and people are going to be interested in what they have to say.
Then he says, "Hey Doc, saw an interview with Damian Priest. Was supposed to be in the latest Black Panther movie, but Vince says no way. Why do you think Vince would let some people do movies and others not?"
I think it's just his opinion and his perception of things, and I don't think he would he would do anything intentionally to hurt somebody in their career, especially doing a movie. It would help WWE, but I have no idea why Vince would let some talent do movies and some talent not. I mean, he may have needed think that he needed Priest and not didn't not want to let him go. Could be as simple as that.
Feels like almost like a little bit of a curse. Because remember, Becky Lynch was supposed to do some Marvel movie and that didn't work out. Priest was supposed to do this Marvel movie that didn't work out. Feels like sometimes for whatever reason, Marvel and WWE not really meshing. But yeah, that is weird that Vince is like, okay, you could do the movie, and then other people, no, I don't want you doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been just he needed Priest. Didn't want to let him go.
Are you a Damian Priest fan? What do you think about
Yeah.
Damian Priest?
Yes, actually, I am a Damian Priest fan. I've been a Damian Priest fan long before he came to WWE. I saw him. He came to a camp in Charlotte. Les Thatcher, Jerry Briscoe, myself, Lance Storm, Nigel McGuinness. We did a camp in Charlotte some years ago, and he came with the Monster Factory. Uh, Danny Cage and some of the other guys, Matt Riddle. And I was impressed then with him. I was impressed with his attitude, impressed with his size. Thought he did a great job. And we had an idea it would be only a matter of time before he'd wind up in WWE because he had the talent, he had the size, he had the drive to do it.
Bo is back. Who is your favorite Texan? Because before I propose I answer, who's your favorite Texan?
Terry Funk.
His is Earl Campbell.
Well, of course it is. Who's going to be Earl Campbell? That's all right.
Frank Nordquist says Janelle Grant's love letters to Vince caused me to question how true her claims really are.
Well, we can question everything. I guess it's going to come down to a court of law. But when Laurinaitis turned on Vince and said, "Hey, he made me do it," it kind of pretty much told me that there was something going on.
Yeah, but then he turned back, double turn. Now he's back with Vince. So the double turn.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah.
So how do you trust anybody in this deal? You know, you have to go to court and figure out what's what.
So where is it here? Ibsen. The WWE nor Vince had final say on the final product of the documentary, according to many reports. I heard that as well, that they did not have final say, but they're still okay with it airing, and they're still okay with, I guess, – what's about to come out. So I feel like they're okay if they bury Vince.
Well, it sounds like they don't mind if they bury Vince and uh, say what they want. So it'll be interesting to see. And plus, Raw's going to 2 hours now for
For the
the
time
rest of the
being,
year.
yes.
Yeah, for the
Yep.
rest of the year.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what everybody has to say about this thing and how they handle it. Because Vince obviously sat down for it and was
Yeah.
interviewed.
Yep.
So
Well, it was supposed to be so much different because the end was supposed to be the WrestleMania where he had that match, and that was going to be a send off and retirement, and the Austin Stunner to kind of put everything full circle, and that was supposed to be the end of the doc. That's why he had the match, and that's why they did that. Literally, it was all for the documentary, and then all this stuff happened. So they're like, wait a second, we can't tell his old story and stop right there. We have to continue on. How he leaves at WWF and John Grant, like they have to tell the whole story. Although she's not interviewed in it for whatever reason.
so I heard there was over 200 hours of interviews or something like that.
Something crazy. Yeah.
Something
200
crazy.
hours of interviews with Vince himself prior to the resignation. So they were interviewing him a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how they splice everything together and how the final product does come out.
Crazy. Ibsen also throws in Jim Ross was upset that he didn't even get a call to be interviewed, which, quote unquote, wasn't right since I have been his right hand man through it all. Are you surprised by JR saying that he didn't get a call to be a part of the doc?
I'm not surprised at all. Um, so there were a few people who weren't called and feel like they should have been. Jr. definitely should have had something to say in this thing.
But he works for AEW, so that's probably the reason why he's not a part of it, why they didn't interview him for sure.
Probably so. Probably so.
Ragu Overlord on the Stone Cold podcast. Vince told Steve that the janitor, waiter, servants were all his type of people rather than the wealthy in the same room with him. What do you think about that? Is that accurate on Vince?
I think it's accurate to a point. I think that Vince understands how to relate to a janitor, a waiter, and people like that, rather than some people who might have higher value, uh, higher value of themselves, I guess, or thought higher than themselves. And I can see that. I can see Vince relating to the janitor, the waiter, and the servants, because he worked his way up from the bottom too.
Considering how often most documentaries are sensational smear jobs with lots of statements taken out of context, I'm not expecting anything different with this one. Do you agree?
I do agree. I think it's going to be whatever they want to make it, and if I've heard it's a burial of Vince, so they're going to do everything in their power to make Vince look bad, and for whatever reason, um, yeah, I think they're going to do. I think they're going to get the job accomplished because nothing good is going to come out of this. I think they've already got their mind made up that he's guilty,
Yep.
and they want to make sure that everybody knows it.
Before we get to Ibsen, Louis, who owns WWE now? It is TKO, aka Endeavor, owns WWE right now.
Yeah, yeah.
With obviously Nick Khan is the CEO, Triple H is the CCO. Got new structure over there for sure,
Well,
and
yeah,
Rock is the head of the board.
right. And I think they've been doing a great job. I was talking to someone earlier today about they think that having the title on one guy for too long is detrimental to business, and I disagree. I think that sometimes you can tell a long term story and keep the belt on somebody if they're doing great. And I think Cody Rhodes is still doing great. I've read and I've heard where people say he's not. doing as good as he should be as a champion. Doesn't have those killer heels to fight off, but at the same time, he's over with the fans. He's over with the kids, and I think he's doing some of his best work. I really do.
People are saying that, right? That only this monster heel, and he needs to have this, The Rock or whoever to feud with. But the business keeps going up and up and up. They're selling out shows left and right. He's making more money than ever. His merch is crazy. So whatever they're doing is working. So I don't know if that's necessarily correct. Although he is making, he had a good feud with AJ. Although you knew he wasn't going to lose the title. Solo, you're not going to lose the title. I still think they're doing a good job.
I think they're doing a great job. I really do. I think Hunter's leadership has really shown that he is a student of the game and he does know what he's doing. And they're working their ass off over there, and Cody's working his ass off every single night. I understand he goes from the ring after his match and makes sure he shakes hands and takes pictures and does stuff like that. So I don't know that they've had a champion like that in a long, long time. And I think for this day and age, I think it really calls for that. I know the kids that I do know, and I know some kids, I'm talking about 9, 10, 11 years old, they all look up to Cody. They all love Cody. They've all met him and are just impressed because he comes across as a good guy, a champion, and somebody who loves his fans. So, uh, and I think in today's atmosphere, that's what you need.
And hey, maybe the next monster heel for him to feud with could be Jacob Fatu, which they teased on SmackDown. That would be interesting, actually. I would love
I
that.
think, I think that'd be great matches. Those would be great matches. He and Jacob.
Wants to know who owns AEW? Tony Khan, the son of the great Shad Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Tony Khan owns AEW. Ibsen wants to know, name 5 if you had the chance to be interviewed for the documentary that Vince knew very closely. He's saying Steve, Hogan, J.J. Dillon, Bruce, Bret Hart. Who would you want as your 5 guys, essential guys that need to be interviewed?
Well, you'd want to have Hunter.
Yep.
I think you'd want to have Stephanie,
Yep.
Shane.
Yes.
Have Shane in there too.
Yep.
I'd have Linda.
Yes.
And I don't know. Was Hogan interviewed on this one?
I think so. I'm pretty sure because I thought he was on the trailer, but I'm pretty sure he's in. He's got to be in it.
Yeah. So I'd have those people. Hogan.
Yeah, same thing.
And the family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, same thing. Magazine is saying, is it possible JR was left out of the documentary because the people who made the series felt that they had enough interviews from people with the similar views as JR has?
Well, it is possible. And it's possible that they just didn't want to interview him because he is with A&E right now. So there's only so many times that you can say the same thing. And JR would be just repeating a lot of what I'm sure people are going to say on this deal. But at the same time, I can see that how JR would feel like he should have been interviewed. Totally understand.
Ragu says John Cena should turn heel on Cody Rhodes. What do you think about that during the retirement tour?
I don't think that's a good idea at all because John's going to get ready to retire as a babyface and go into movies. And he needs people loving his movies, and he can always come back as a ambassador. And I don't know it's the right thing to do to Cody.
Happy Hump Day from Mike. Hello.
Mike.
Speaking of documentaries having a particular spin, JR claims the Dark Side of the Ring put a spin on the plane ride from hell interview that he did that caused Ric Flair to hate him.
Well, what did JR say that caused Ric Flair to hate him?
Well, just in that documentary about Plane Ride from Hell, he's kind of going over what happened on the flight, and he's saying it was like edited in a certain way to make it look like JR was blaming Flair for a lot of stuff. You know, how crazy he was in the plane and getting naked and stuff. But he's saying they kind of spun the editing to make it seem like he was ripping on Rick, but that's like a good friend of his for years.
Well, only JR knows if he was ripping on Rick or not, or if they were just, talking factual. And I think he was just talking factual.
Well,
So,
remember the editing. Dreamer got in trouble the way they edited it.
yeah. Well, that's what the press does, and that's what they continue to do in documentaries and stuff like that. It's supposed to cause controversy.
Flair was fuming at those guys. I know that. There, he was not happy with them.
Well, that's too bad.
Crazy though with that whole thing. I don't think he was the worst one on that flight, and I think it's kind of documented who was kind of the worst ones because they ended up getting fired. So
Well, the more I hear about all the things that happened in the '90s, um, I was there for some of it, and I've heard explanations and examples uh, in places that I've been, and it was nothing like they're saying. So I understand if you don't have the story or narrative you want, you create it, and that's what I think they've done. Not just on the Mr. McMahon deal, but I think the plane ride from hell.
yeah, was Vince any different when he was on commentary, and then when he was Mr. McMahon, the character later in the Attitude Era? How was he backstage? Any difference?
Well, backstage, I think Vince had to be the boss, but he also knew how to relate and be one of the boys when he had to be one of the boys, even though he was working. You knew he was working, and I think Vince on commentary was more closer to Vince backstage uh, than Mr. McMahon in the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era, as Mr. McMahon, he was just had the volume turned up and played the evil boss. But I've seen him on both sides, being the evil boss and then being compassionate and empathetic, which sounds odd compared or considering what he's being accused of.
Oh yeah. Louis says, I miss the old days. Stone Cold, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, The Rock. I don't see anybody on the card today that compares to them. What do you think about that?
I don't see anybody that compares to those guys either. It's a whole different business today, and the other thing that I've read lately and heard about was everybody is on their bus. Nobody's hanging out backstage, or the majority of people are on their bus. I don't know if that's true or not because I'm not there, but I think a huge part of Austin, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and The Rock, and I'll throw Triple H in there too, is they all understood that they were in competition with each other and they were rivals, and everyone wanted to do well. And that's what made it so realistic. Even after they went on TV and said, "Hey, we don't want to insult anybody's intelligence. We're going to tell you, you know, this is the new era of wrestling, or it wasn't wrestling; it was sports entertainment." Well, these days they're bringing back professional wrestling, and they can say belt, and they can say certain things they weren't allowed to say when Vince was still there. But the old days of Stone Cold, Undertaker, and Rock were a lot better because it was more authentic, I think. And Austin was Austin, and Undertaker was Undertaker. He was the real deal, even though he wasn't dead, obviously, but he was the Undertaker. And when he came out looking the part, he was the part.
It does seem like a lot of the guys have buses now. It does seem like that's a part of their deal. It's kind of pretty cool. Would you have liked that back in the day, getting your own bus?
Would love to have my own bus, sure. Because I mean, you get in the back and go to sleep or watch TV or watch something. I mean, while somebody else drives to the next town. That's a good way to travel.
I wonder how much money that costs. You know what I mean? With the travel and everything. I wonder how much money that is.
I don't know, man, but when I wrestled in Memphis, my last run, Jerry Jarrett would run a tour bus every Thursday night, and we would drive all night after the spot show drive all night to Dallas, get off early in the morning in Dallas. The baby faces go to the gym. The heels hung out at the sportatorium, and then drive Friday night all night. Get to Memphis TV Saturday morning, and you could rest if you wanted to. Or some guys stayed up all night, and it was pretty cool, pretty easy. Yeah, having a bus is nice.
When was the last time you saw Vince?
Ooh, about 12 years ago.
Do you remember where?
No, it was some town though, but I can't remember the town. Nope.
What was he doing? This was just backstage at a show?
Backstage at a show. Said hello.
That's it? Just handshake, hello, no deep conversation?
How you doing, pal? What kind of deep conversation could I have with Vince?
Who knows?
Hey, how's your garden doing, Vince? Yeah. No deep conversation. Hey, pal.
Great question here from Frank. Dr. Tom, in the light of the way Dark Side of the Ring spins certain things, are you reluctant at all to appear on that series again?
Well, not because of the way they spin things. It's just it's like about a 2-3 hour shoot, and they ask a lot of questions, and for 3 hours you're talking, and it gets a little redundant, and it gets a little for me anyway, I said what I said, and then they're looking for different angles of what you said, different ways of asking, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You've already given them an answer, and then they'll ask something else to build on that, and then splice it however you want. I'm not that reluctant, but it would have to be for something I want to talk about.
Ragu is saying apparently the Shield entrance theme was meant for the Big Show about 10 years earlier, 0203. Interesting. Never heard that before.
I never heard that either. Wonder where they got that.
Speaking of, have you heard this? I haven't heard this. Is Vince a carnivore diet guy? Is he a meat only guy?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know if he is or not.
He saw a picture of Vince recently. He's gotten old looking. What do you think about that? Do you think, there was that rumor going around that he's not in good health, and then his lawyer said he's in good health, he's fine. What do you think about that? How do you think he's looking?
I think he's looking old, but we're all looking old.
Well, he just turned 79, so he's not a young pup anymore.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's 79 years old. How's he supposed to look?
Scorch makes a great point here. He's saying one wrestler who did not like traveling by bus was Lex Luger during his Made in the USA angle. Yeah, he did not.
Well, I think that Lex was not liking a lot of stuff at that time. I don't think Lex liked meeting the people and doing the things they wanted him to do on that tour. He wanted to go to the gym. He wanted to do his thing. He hated the schedule. So, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't like to travel back then. But this is what the guys have now is their own personal bus where they can have their family or friends or whatever on, and travel from town to town.
Byron Mack, who was the most difficult wrestler you trained, and who was the easiest? Could be famous, could be not.
Wow. I don't know who the most difficult was, but Kurt Angle had to be the easiest, I think. Kurt had a natural ability. So did Rock. There's a few, but I just remember Kurt being pretty much smart from the beginning. He knew what it was, and he had an idea of how to do it.
What about the Brackus? Was he the most difficult?
Well, difficult in the way that he never caught on, and when I had to work with him for a week, the first night out, He gave me a clothesline and gave me a concussion. But back then, we didn't take off for concussions. I just knew I was concussed. I was feeling nauseous, had a headache the entire week. Um, I just had to get in the ring and work with him every night. So that was, yeah, that was a difficult time.
Mitch Miller, just when you have the answers, they change the questions. Nice
No
little,
kidding. Yes, I do.
nice Piper line. To you, let's see, to you, what made? I'm not sure what he's saying there, but it says Vince. What made to you? What made Vince a special person, a rare person? His vision for the business, his knowledge, developing characters, something else.
Well, I think anybody in Vince's position has to have that drive. And, you know, I think without people like Vince in the world, nothing would get done. And Vince had a vision. He didn't bullshit too much. In fact, I don't think he bullshitted at all. If he wanted to do something, he really wanted to do it. And he was going to do it no matter what. He's one of those people that he takes the lead. And his vision for the business, he always wanted to take it global. He wanted to be the action figures and the merchandise and mainstream. And he did that. So he did something that all the other wrestling promoters had the same opportunity to do, but Vince had the balls to go through with it. And that's what made him so special, I think.
Going back to your injury, Brian Mack said, "Yikes!"
Yes.
Giant Silva, easy or hard to train?
John Silva was tremendous. He just didn't speak good English.
I could see that.
No, he from Brazil. He didn't understand too good English. He didn't speak too good English, but nice guy.
Is it true they signed Hogan to a 5-year deal, WWE 5-year contract? Yes, he just came out and said that. Yes,
Is that right? Well, good for
5 more
him.
years. Yeah, yep. Seems like
Yeah.
they're signing up the legends, and then obviously they used Bret Hart on Monday Night Raw. It seems like they're really using the legends now.
Well, good for them. Good for all those guys.
When you worked behind the scenes, was there a talent you wish got more of a push, like Draws before the accident? What do you think?
Well, yeah, the accident with Draws was terrible. But I think Draws certainly would have and should have got a bigger push. Uh, and there's been a few other guys. I can't. None of them really come to mind right now, but I think that everybody has the idea that they should have a bigger push,
Yeah.
and Draws was still in the learning phase, and if the accident would happen, who knows?
Thoughts on Jesse getting a Legends contract? Jesse the Body Ventura.
Good for Jesse. I've always liked Jesse Ventura. I've known him. I met him in Memphis, and always a nice guy.
Ragu wants to know: has anybody tried Hogan's new beer brand, Real American Beer?
I have.
Whoa!
Yeah. I do. I have an unopened can right over there. I haven't tried it yet.
So when I was down in Florida, was it last month? No, 2 months ago. Well, almost 2 months ago in Florida, my buddy and his wife, they bought a case of the Hogan beer. So of course I had to get it. I saved one of the cans. I loved it. I thought it was great. The only thing is it tastes exactly, if you're not a Miller Lite fan, you might not like it. It tastes exactly like Miller Lite, just with his label on it. So I like Miller Lite, so I liked it, but I could see maybe if somebody doesn't like Miller Lite, they might not like it. But it seems like it's literally Miller Lite with his label on it.
Well, we went to Waterloo last month or 2 months ago, July 20th, and we had Dan Gable beer, and I liked it.
Oh, wow.
Some people yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Didn't taste like had kind of a blonde craft beer taste to it, I thought.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are there any moves that you don't allow your students to perform for safety reasons?
Yes, pile drivers. We don't do pile drivers for safety reasons.
Brian Mack, if you could recommend one wrestling match for a non-fan to watch, what would it be? One wrestling match.
Superstar Billy Graham versus Dusty Rhodes. If you can find the match where Cody Rhodes is talking about the Dream wins the match, but he doesn't win the belt, it's a disqualification.
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden. It used to be on YouTube. I can't find it now. But Dusty Rhodes versus Superstar Billy Graham, because it has the showmanship, um, the colorful characters, and they tell a story. If you're not a fan uh, and you want to be entertained, I double dog dare you to watch this and not be entertained. It's great. If you are a fan of the old school, I would recommend Harley Race versus Terry Funk, 1977 from Houston, Texas. But if you're not a wrestling fan, watch Superstar and Dusty Rhodes. They're the epitome of what professional wrestling was back then. They both looked like stars, and it was a spectacle.
9/26/77 from Madison Square Garden, I believe is the match you're referring to. That he thought he won the title, and they screwed right, and they screwed him out in the Garden.
Well, I asked him about that, and he told me the story. He says he grabbed the belt and put it on, and the next day they had pictures in the New York Post and all the New York papers saying new WWF champion. He said Vince Sr. was hot at him for taking the belt, but he knew he was going to get his stuff done. And back then there was
Yeah.
no internet. Yeah,
Yep.
the magazines and newspapers are how you got your news and all the stuff across. So he made sure everybody got a picture of it.
And that was cool when they went back to MSG this year, back in July, or no, I guess it was back in late June. But Cody had the belt, and he held it up just in the same corner that Dusty did. It was off air, but still, it was awesome. He got to hold the belt up in the actual belt in the corner of the
Well,
ring that Dusty did it.
wait, the actual belt that Dusty had?
Yeah.
So it was the one that somebody made?
So apparently somebody bought it and gave it to Cody. So apparently he has the original title belt, the original Superstar Billy Graham title belt.
Wow. Well, that's
Pretty
pretty cool.
amazing and pretty
Yeah.
cool. You could tell by the expression on his face. He thought like this is like surreal. Like I'm holding the title. Like to literally finish the story, he literally goes to MSG with Dusty's old belt, and he's the champ, and he's holding up. So pretty cool.
Yeah. That's where the authenticity comes in. Yeah, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, right now he's being sued by that band, the American Nightmare, that guy Wes Icehold. Even though they already came to an agreement, he's being sued for the American Nightmare name because he said, I guess you could use American Nightmare, but it's got to say Cody Rhodes on it too, something to that effect. So interesting. So hopefully that gets squared away.
So he doesn't have American Nightmare and Cody Rhodes?
I guess he's not supposed to use American Nightmare by itself because this
Oh,
band was out in like 2000 or something. It's like 20-year-old band. I know no one's probably ever heard of it, but I guess this guy had the trademark on it for a while, and Cody, I guess, licensed it from him or something. But he's not supposed to technically use American Nightmare on its own. It's supposed to be American Nightmare Cody
Cody
Rhodes,
Rhodes.
like together. Yeah,
Well, there you have it then.
very interesting. What was worse, Jesse's toupee in the Running Man or Jesse's toupee in Abraxas?
Or his movie Abraxas. I've never seen Abraxas.
I haven't either, but I kind of want to see it because I heard it's so bad it's good.
Ah, well, I don't know. I didn't mind Justice Toupee and Running Man.
Yeah, me neither. Running Man is such a good movie, man. One of my favorites. Love Running Man.
Of course.
They did sign. They signed Just the Body to a Legends deal as well. He said he think Dusty had the red robe and hat on. Mitch Miller saying for that.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was. Yeah, but all his entrances in the garden were spectacular. That was the day before music too. So when the guys came down, they had to make an entrance without music.
What's your doctorate in?
Desire,
The Doctor of Desire. Good point.
of
Good point.
course.
Do you remember which wrestler made you want to be a part of the business?
Yes, Terry Funk.
The best double cross ever was the text between Benoit and Chavo from Penelope Roberto. The best double cross ever was a text between Benoit and Chavo. Interesting. I'm not really sure that reference there.
I'm not either.
I thought Dustin Rhodes owned the rights when he had that in WCW. That is true because he did use it first. Remember, I don't know if you remember in 2000 and 2001, he called himself the American Nightmare. But I don't know if he actually had the trademark for it or not.
Well, that's something WWE would definitely make sure of. I think before they go straight at full steam ahead with it. I think.
Yeah, for sure. Let's wrap this bad boy up on that note. Of course, hopefully Cody just maybe this guy's looking for some more money. Maybe just pays him off. But you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Two Man Power Trip. You can follow Dr. Tom at Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, where can everybody get your book?
You can get my book at jpwrestlingacademy.com. Just click on the training tab up at the top, and it'll tell you how to order. If you want an autographed copy, email me at jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com.
How about a signed copy of the book?
That's what I just said. If you want an autographed copy, you email me. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Signed and autographed are the same thing.
oh yeah. Okay. Good point.
Yeah.
Good
Just wanted you to know.
Scorch is saying goodbye. Another great show. Mitch says another great show, gentlemen. Jason, thank you to Jason. Dr. Tom, what about as far as anything else you got going on, like Bo and all those other crazy things you got going on?
Well, again, the 21st of September is a big Hall of Fame ceremony in Jackson, Tennessee. Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee's going to be there. Randy Hales is putting this on with not Mike Golden, Terry Golden in Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah. And I hear they've already got a hell of a house sold. And then, of course, the 28th is the JPWA graduation in Mount Carmel, Tennessee. So that's about it.
Nice. Everybody should check that out for sure. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. Thank you to Phil. Thank you to Mitch. Thank you to Brendan. And we will see everybody next week for another Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. We'll see you next week.